Welcome back, everybody, to the final episode of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And we were picked up by one of these little owl, bird, griffin-ish creatures. And we are now given a nice long tour of all the lands that we went through to get to where we got to the tree. So this is pretty much your cutscene cinematic reward for beating the game at this point. That looks highly dangerous. How are we staying on? Off into the sunset. Before probably circling back around and going to the coastal village town that we were born and raised. Of course, happens to be storming and raging. So, such a nice griffin creature. Alright, he has to get back to the healer's hut. All by himself this time. And this is where the strength of his brother comes into play. Alright, first and foremost, we gotta just make it over there. Without falling into the water, because if you recall, he still has a fear of water. So here's a part of your house on the back side, below the cliffs, that you actually didn't know was there when you first came through this area at the very beginning of the game. Not unless I think you were really exploring or some such. And here's his final test. He has to swim through some water. Well, it looks like he's going to give up. But no, the spirit of his mother comes to him in his final hour of need to give him the strength and courage to proceed onward to save his dad. Come on, Toby! You can do this! You can totally do this! Well, that was not as a solid hug as he gave his brother earlier. Alright. Time to do this for real, Toby. We got this. Alright, I gotta remember how I did this. Ah, that's right. You've got to push the button of the big brother. He's not even there. You got to push his button to do the swimming. Not Toby's button, but the little big brother's McGuire's button on the keyboard. And that activates your swimming for the little brother. Clever. You're going to have to act like he's there when he's not. And that's what gives Toby the strength to continue on. So he doesn't have the strength, but if you use the brother's button, he now has the strength of his brother. He's growing up so fast. One last obstacle. Good job, Toby. And voila! The game has been beaten.
Abi.
That's pretty irresponsible of the healer. We should have gone on his own to go get the water, but instead sent two boys to their deaths pretty much. One made it back, barely alive, to go get this medicine that he should have been the one to do himself. That was quite the adventure. Happened over, I think, like 2 days. 2 days' time. So I guess there's now a little rock burial mound, I guess, on the beach for his brother. It's very unclear. Ah, we have a little bit more gameplay left. Such beautiful scenery. My goodness. This is fantastic. Ah. Looks like our father has survived. Our long trip was not in vain. But now we have 2 tombstones instead of 1 to mourn over. And so, in the words of King Eredin in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, no father, no parent should have to bury their child. That is exactly what this father has to do. Not bury him physically in this case, but to outlive his own child. It is such... I can't even imagine. I have 2 kids of my own, and this type of grief and pain, I don't ever want to experience. Toby has grown through this adventure, but at great cost to his whole family. Honestly, at that point, I would have wanted just the kids to live and let myself die and be like, you kids have a life. I've lived mine. And maybe, perhaps, Maguire lives on in a second life as a bird owl. Who knows? And that is Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons by Starbreeze. So this game actually came out of nowhere, I think, for a lot of people, and was done by a pretty much unknown gaming company, which was stationed out of somewhere in Europe. I don't really know where specifically, but it wasn't your standard AAA blockbuster Japanese-made or American-made game. This was definitely an indie game, but with a lot of backing and funding behind it. And so, when this first came out, I think I read about it in Game Informer. I was very interested in this game. I was like, this looks really cool. I really want to play this. And then I never got around to it, and I forgot about it. And then it wasn't until, I think, a sale on Good Old Games about a year or so ago. This was on sale for like 70% off. It was like crazy. I only got it for like $4 or $5, and I was just like, hey, I remember about this game. I'm gonna go buy it and go play it. And I'm glad I did. This was a very satisfying game with a beautiful atmosphere, level design, good solid puzzles. Nothing too tricky, nothing too hard, with the exception of that one puzzle with the blood god, with the clan and everything. But other than that, everything else was pretty... You could figure it out on your own without any sort of guide. So it was an easy, relaxing, slow-paced adventure game. I really couldn't say anything negative about it other than replay value. Now that I've played it 2 times now, once just enjoying myself, and now with the challenge of 5 deaths or less, which I did pass, mind you, only 2 deaths, I find that it's not entirely as enjoyable the second time around. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, but now that I know what to expect and how to get through certain areas, and the fact that nothing ever changes, it's just the same experience each and every time, I don't know. I just feel the replay value is very minimal in this game, so it's more of a one-time experience and done. Which isn't really good for the longevity of a game's shelf life. So this one will probably be forgotten until I remember I liked it and I want to play it 10, 12, 15, 20 years from now. Then it might be new and fresh then, who knows. So overall enjoyment, I really liked just playing through it again casually. I wouldn't put any sort of restriction on myself. But, oh yeah, Unreal. The Unreal Engine. That gets around everywhere these days, doesn't it? Like, everything is powered by Unreal. Most games are. It's like one of the most proliferated game engines anywhere. So, moving on. This is an easy game. And even though I died 2 out of 5 times, 1 was my mistake. I dropped accidentally one of the Toby during, I think, the stage 3 with the tree bark monsters in the wall. And then the other one was legitimately an honest-to-goodness death with the dog at the beginning. But beyond those 2 things, it's not really hard once you know what to expect. So I can't really give this game's challenge anything more than a 1 out of 10. And I think that's a fair score. It's a pretty easy game to get through, challenge or no. So with that, we are done here, and I'll see you in the next play series. See y'all later.